Hey, Tommy from the Run Testers, and I'm joined by
Nick. Hello.
hello, and we are going to be doing one of our famous verses, and this has been a long time coming. The Saucony Triumph 20 versus the Brooks Glycerin 20.
Famous versus.
Saucony Triumph 20 costs £155 or $150. It weighs in at 264 grams or 9.3 ounces for men in a size 8, and the drop is 10mm. The Brooks Glycerin 20 costs £150 or $160. It weighs in at 298 grams or 9.8 ounces for men in a size 8, and the drop is 10mm. The Saucony Triumph line is one of the most popular for runners that want a high level of cushioning for easy sessions, long runs and daily training miles. The Triumph 20 sees some upgrades to its predecessors with a modified PWRRUN Plus midsole foam to make the ride lighter and softer, along with a new geometry that sees an increased rocker and a smoother transition. In addition, there are changes to the lacing system and the upper material. Other design features include a PWRRUN Plus sock liner for comfort, a heel counter for better stability, and a healthy covering of outsole rubber for grip and protection. Few cushion shoes have hit the top of our lists as often as the Brooks Glycerin line. For many years, it's been a shoe that delivers the right balance of midsole stack and comfort for runners that want to tick off mileage as enjoyably as possible. The Glycerin 20 sees one of the biggest upgrades to the shoe in years due to the addition of a new nitrogen-infused DNA Loft V3 midsole that makes for a softer and bouncier ride. In addition, there's also an improved upper fit that combines plush comfort with a lockdown feel. Okay, so Nick, fit. How have you found the fit in these two shoes?
Very good, Tom. True to size in both of these shoes. No problems at all. Lovely amount of room. Great hold everywhere. Nice plush cushioning around the heel and tongue. So yeah, no concerns at all in my normal size.
Same for me. Absolutely spot on. Absolutely spot on. No point in me going into depth with that. Stick to true to size with these. Okay, so Nick, the run test. These two shoes, I don't know if you've had the same issue as me, but it's going to be a very difficult one to compare because they're very similar for me. How have you found the run test in both of these shoes?
Very similar and similarly good, I think would be the key. I'm, like you, Tom, a big fan of both lines of these shoes. I've liked them for a long time. I was a really big fan of the Triumph early on in my running journey. It is always a journey, isn't it, running? Huge fan of the Triumph ISO 2. I came in at that level and it was still the Everrun midsole, and I like the switch to PWRRUN Plus, but the last two versions I haven't enjoyed so much. I think they've just got a bit heavy and dull for me, and they lost a bit of the versatility that I think was really good about the Triumph line. This latest version is lighter and softer and just better. I think it's still a really, really comfortable and protective, easy day shoe, but now it's got a bit more to it if you want to try and up the pace. Whereas the Glycerin, I've always loved purely as an easy day shoe. It was always like the most comfortable shoe basically in any, well, it was always basically the most comfortable shoe in the world, is probably the way to put it. I always thought like that. And the newest version is still very comfortable, but it's become more versatile as well. I think the new nitrogen-infused midsole is not as kind of cushy and soft as the previous versions of it, but it's certainly more kind of responsive. And I think the really great thing about this midsole foam is it just stays the same and feels really good throughout a run. It doesn't bottom out at all. And towards the end of long runs in particular, I think you get a really nice level of kind of response from the foam. It's not maybe as soft and, I guess, bouncy as the Saucony, but it does feel like it gets you a bit more of a push forward. And I found certainly on long, hard runs that it really protects the leg, so you can finish quite fast in this shoe. Neither of these are all out kind of speedsters or very versatile daily trainers, but they do both have quite a lot of versatility, I think, given the massive amount of cushioning. I'd say that for sure.
Yeah, so I've actually raced a 10-mile race in the Brooks Glycerin 20 because I've been injured quite a lot over the past year, and I decided to slow myself down and not go carbon plated for it. And I did find it was quite difficult to run initially, but as I continued running, I got quite warm to the foam, and it felt quite good on that race. I didn't do too badly in it, and I never thought I'd run a race and be okay in the Brooks Glycerin range. But what I'd say about these two shoes is both have been released quite recently, and if Saucony or Brooks hadn't done the updates they've made to these shoes, it would be such an easy win if one of them had stuck with their previous models, because the updates that have been made for both of these have really made them a lot better than their predecessors. So I think for me, I would say that the Triumph 20 I just think is a little bit more conducive to running faster for longer. And I'm not talking, speed training here. I'm talking, if you want a consistent pace for a while. Whereas Brooks Glycerin still, for me, veers more towards that easy day cushioning and support, but far better than the previous version of it. I'd also say that I think the Triumph 20 does have a better rolling action. It does feel more conducive to a nice fluid motion, which I don't really get as well from the Glycerin 20. But there's not a lot in it. I mean, they're pretty similar still. It's not like one's far superior to the other one. It's just slight differences in the two shoes that probably fit for certain people. But I think they're both fantastic shoes. And yeah, it's very difficult for me at the moment because I've got these two. Hopefully we'll have the New Balance More V4 coming in soon.
Ooh.
And choosing a best cushion shoe at the moment is proving difficult for me.
Yeah, definitely. The Saucony's a bit light. It probably is better. If you're looking at what would be the best kind of daily trainer to handle a lot of runs, if you're a one-shoe runner, I think maybe the Triumph would just edge it. But at the same time, I do enjoy running a little bit quicker in the Glycerin at times. I do really like the feeling of that midsole. So I think they're both fantastic options for newer runners or one-shoe runners who want more comfortable shoes. I think comes to long runs, I would favour the Glycerin. I've always loved using this shoe for long runs, and the new version is fantastic, I think. So just purely on that basis, long runs alone, I think the Glycerin's got a bit more of an edge because of the way that foam feels at the end of kind of any distance. But yeah, maybe if you were looking at the more versatile option for shorter distances and kind of general training, the Triumph maybe has a little bit more to it.
Yeah, well, I'm slightly opposite to you because I will go for the Triumph for longer runs. I've got to go and do a half marathon after we do these videos, and I'm going to go Triumph for that just because I've really enjoyed it recently for marathon training. It's been fantastic. Although, if I took the Glycerin 20 out, I would equally be happy running in it.
Fair enough.
So yeah, difficult decision. Okay, so Nick, let's talk about verdict. What shoe are you going for out of the Glycerin 20 and the Triumph 20?
I'll start by saying either shoe is going to be a win if you have it in your locker. They're both quite similar. They're really well cushioned, but still, pretty versatile, big, heavy cushion shoes that have a good amount of stability, a really nice feel underfoot, kind of whatever kind of running you're doing. Personally, I probably like the feel of the Glycerin 20 slightly more myself. I think I just like that nitrogen-infused midsole feel slightly more than the Triumph, but I'll be very happy in either, Tom, I won't lie. And yeah, I'd say whatever you pick up in this category, these are two of the top options you can get. How about you?
Yeah, I agree. Although I think for me, and it's very difficult to sort of choose between these, I think I'd go for the Triumph 20. I just like that midsole foam more. For me, it just feels a little bit more, I wouldn't say necessarily massively bouncy. I think it is bouncier than the Glycerin 20. I think you can feel it when you start running it. It just feels like there's a little bit more pop in it. I don't think that's by any means it makes it superior. I just think that makes the feel of the shoe slightly different. And for me, I enjoy the feel of the Triumph 20 more than the Glycerin 20, but only just. But I think if it comes down to the runner, it's so difficult because if somebody came to me and said, I need a great cushioned shoe for my easy runs, what do I go for? I think the differences in these shoes are purely going to be down to the individual. It's not like I could say one is far superior than the other. But probably I'd just say a tiny bit of versatility in the Triumph 20 might push it over the line for me. And I also think that if you were a runner who wanted one pair of shoes, maybe you just started running or maybe you're training for a half marathon and you just want to buy one pair of shoes to cover you and you're not going for massive PBs, I'd probably say the Triumph 20 in that case because I think it's a good all-rounder shoe at a low level. I wouldn't say put it in an all-rounder category, but I'd say for if that easy day running to race day, I think it's okay. Whereas Glycerin, I'd probably just leave it for the slow runs.
See, I'd probably agree with you on the past versions of the Glycerins on that, but I think this new one performs very similar to. I think almost. I wouldn't be afraid to say, like, if you were picking between these shoes and someone asked me, I'd say which one's cheaper on the day and which one has the best, the colour you like the most on the day, because I think either one's going to do a similar job in a very good way. Going purely on my gut, looking at these shoes, the Glycerin is the one that I just feel more affinity with, but there's really not much in it.
Well, I feel more affinity for the Triumph 20, so I agree to disagree.
Yeah, perfect.
But there's not much in it. I mean, if I got given either of these as a Christmas present, I'm sitting down to Christmas dinner happy.
You're always happy at Christmas dinner. So.
I am always. I've been drinking quite a lot. So there we go. Tough decision, but and maybe not, and a different one from both of us.
Yeah, if I was going to switch, I mean, if either came out in teal, that would be the one I'd pick. Simple as that.
There we go. That's the information that they needed. Okay, so that's it from us on this Versus. Thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe and click the little bell icon. And check the channel out for all the other videos we've got from the latest road and trail shoes, as well as running headphones and watches out at the moment. And don't forget, we've got our monthly podcast that comes out at the end of every month. And if you go to the captions below, you can find a link to download from your podcast provider of choice. Thanks a lot from me and from...
me. Bye.
Very awkward. See you later.
Awful.